Hey, welcome to Rebirth Podcast. This is your girl, Shea. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to tonight's video. You do not want to miss the Rebirth Podcast with Pastor Delisa Lewis.
Out of the ashes we will soar to a destiny we can't ignore. Heartbeats echo through the night with every dream and endless flight. Together strong, let's break the mold. Our rebirth and stories told. It's time to renew, rebuild, restore. Unlock the dreams we've been waiting for. Rise up higher, more and more. With every breath, a new dawn's roar.
Good evening. Happy Monday. Welcome to Rebirth Podcast. I am your host, Shea. And tonight I have a special guest host with me. She's not only my girlfriend, my sister, but she is also Miss Pastor Delisa Lewis.
Hello. You know,
Welcome back.
How about that? I feel like I'm like this guest speaker that comes on every now and then. You know, I am just so excited and honored to be here. You are doing big things.
Oh, girl. Thank you.
So glad
Thank
I knew you before
you.
the lunch. And you know,
We knew.
yes.
We knew each other before everything happened.
Exactly.
I'm so happy to have you here with us. You've graced our microphone several times, as well as the Rebirth Live stage a few times, you and your husband. So
I think we started some controversy.
Oh, listen. It's all good. It's all good. We missed y'all last year, so we definitely would love to have you guys come back.
Oh,
For the one coming up. Yes. So how are you? How you been?
I'm good. Just, doing what God has called me to do. You know, it's one thing when you have an idea of what you want to do,
Right.
But then when you really step into what God has for you to
Right.
do and just walking that out, because it's a path that you really don't know.
Right.
As you walk it out, more things are revealed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would have never thought years ago I'd be sitting here.
Girl, me neither. Me neither.
But God knew.
God knew.
And
Right.
it's just
You're right.
amazing.
You're right.
It's amazing how our paths crossed. They kind of separated, then they came back.
Yep.
And it's just
Yep.
really amazing that even in the time that we were not together, that time was necessary.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
So I
For sure.
But you did fire me, but you fired me.
My God.
Your manager. It was funny because I did not do a
Manager artists and stuff.
I had no idea, but I was your manager for about, I don't know, like
I
2
never
months.
told that story in public. So what she's speaking about, everybody, is I don't even think a lot of our listeners even know that I was in the music industry at one point.
Yeah.
So but yes, I did before there was therapy, before I became a therapist, since Pastor Lewis, since Pastor put it out there.
Yes.
Before I was a therapist, before I even was doing anything with Rebirth or whatever, I was in the music industry for many, many years. And Delisa at one point was my manager. So, but it was one of those things where it's just like, because as an artist, you always want someone that you really can trust as a manager. So we're close. We're like sisters. So I was just like, it was a good idea at the time until it wasn't.
You think about it? Sure.
Right.
But
Boy,
but
those were
I will
some
put it out
times.
there. You did sing backup to John Bon Jovi.
I did.
I
You
remember.
forgot all about that. John Bon Jovi and a few other, I could talk today. A few other artists. So yeah, what a blessing. We are both here. We are where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
During this time, right? So the journeys, it's interesting how our journeys just go, all the way around and then come right back full circle, and we're still friends, we're still sisters, and we're just doing things that God want us to do, versus what we thought we were supposed to be doing.
If you would have told us this,
we would have been cracking up laughing. It's like, girl, you would have told me you was gonna be a pastor. Like, yeah, okay. Really? But you are an amazing pastor, so amazing.
Ooh, I still think about. I'm really surprised by that.
It's great when you can look back and you can see how you've grown and how you've changed and how your thinking is different, and your circles are different. It just everything just looks different.
And it's funny because I have a mentor, Dr. Dee Freeman, who is an amazing woman of God. And she always says, if your life doesn't blow your mind, you're not doing it right. You should be able to look at where you are and it should blow your mind that you are where you are. Based on where you started. And if you don't have that, wow, look at me.
Right.
Then you might want to look at what you're doing. It's probably not what God has for you, and it's probably not fulfilling. So
that's deep. That's really deep. So I have a question before I ask you the question. Tonight, guys, we're actually going to be talking about, we're on this season. I'm on this season of healing, and that's my word. That's the word that God gave me before 2025 came in. And everything that I do in 2025 is going to be something surrounding healing, rather it's a mental, a physical, a spiritual, a community healing, whatever that thing is, we're going to be talking about healing. So tonight we're actually going to be talking about healing while in crisis. So I'm very excited to jump on that topic, but I do have a question for you, because you started the show out by saying, we both were on our own journeys and not the journey that God had for us. Right. But now we know now. Right. So how do let's say someone that is trying to figure it out, they're like, am I doing what God wants me to do? How do you know if you're doing what God wants you to do versus what you want to do?
That is a good question.
Right.
The first thing, you have to really take an introspective look and ask if, what you're doing, is it a passion? Is it something, if you look back at your life and you can see, what, I've been doing this all along in one way, shape, or form. It's a part of you. It's part of your fabric. And when you look at it, that will give you at least an idea of the path that you should be on. And then you have to really seek God. You have to spend some time with him, asking him, God, what is it that you want me to do? Reveal what you want me to do. Your will be done in my life. And what we'll find is sometimes what we desire and what God desires are very different. They're different. But he'll use your characteristics, those things that people really put you down for. That's what he's going to use as part of your purpose and the plan he has for your life. It's just interesting. Because you know me, like I've always been headstrong. I've always been opinionated.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
I've always wanted, I always had ideas. I was very strong-willed. And so those are the things that God needed in me. He placed in me. But the problem was I couldn't use them for the world. I needed to use them for him. Because when I used them for the world, I got world results.
Right.
That didn't get me the results I was looking for. But I take those same characteristics. I believe in the word of God. I live it. I live it on purpose. Nobody can get me off this. Now I live that way. And now I'm reaping. I live in victory in every area of my life,
Mhm.
even when it doesn't feel like victory.
Right. That's
You know?
good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I think too, and thank you for that, because I think too, when you are constantly trying to push your own agenda,
Mhm.
and there's always something that's blocking that agenda or is not turning out the way that you want to turn out, that's also a sign that maybe
Yes.
you're not on the
Yes.
path that you should be on as well.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes you just have to surrender,
That
you know,
that's
surrender and
That's it.
just say, you know what, God, like lead, move with discernment, pray about everything,
Yes.
you know. I think that is so important, and that's something that I practice.
Yes.
I really don't make any major decisions unless I consult with God first.
We have a tendency to consult with God all after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
All when it's all jacked up, and
Yeah.
now we want him to fix it.
Yeah.
But if we had just consulted him on the front end,
Right, exactly.
because you know, relationships, that's my niche. I'm like, God told you not to. He would have told you don't go there. He would have told you don't marry him, don't marry her.
Right.
He would, but you didn't ask, because you know what? You didn't want to.
You didn't want the answer. Yeah.
You didn't want the answer.
Yeah.
You wanted to do what you wanted to do.
Woo, child, it's a whole nother. What was that topic? We fucking talk about healing through crisis.
Well, call it crisis.
We somewhere else.
That'll cause a crisis.
I know that's right. You are right about that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. So before we jump into our topic tonight, you have some things coming up, some events coming up.
Yes, I am so excited. I am built for this relentless 2.0
awesome.
women's conference coming up April the 26th at the Christiana Hilton. I'm telling you, last year was so amazing.
Wow.
That God said, do it again. Same speakers, because last year the ground was broken. But now we're going to go deeper.
Okay.
When I tell you, I left there on fire, and it was my conference, right? I left there ready to be relentless, understanding that's the only way that I'm going to achieve the things that I truly desire. I have to be relentless.
Yes.
And so I am just so excited. We have Pastor Dana Rue from
Word of Light Christian
Word
Center.
Of Life, yes. And we have Pastor Tanya Hall. She's coming in from Florida. She is going, when I tell you, this woman got it for you. She has a word for you, and it's going to be amazing. Come with an expectation, but I'm telling you, if you're not there, you're missing it. There are divine appointments that you're supposed to be at, and I know that God has ordained that moment, that event, just for you.
This is for women only, right?
Well, that's how it started. However, when men started coming.
Oh, okay.
So there are some men there.
Okay.
Most of them have accompanied their wives, but there are some men there that will be a part of.
Okay.
Yeah, my husband is on fire. He can't wait.
I know that's right.
The word is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few men that do register and come.
Yeah. Okay. And they can get the tickets at eventbrite.com.
Yeah, eventbrite.com, or they can go to our website, transformedbyfaith.live.
Nice.
So they can get it there. Yep. Oh, and matter of fact, you better get your tickets now, because the early bird is ending very soon. Probably at the end of February.
The end of February. Okay.
So yeah, so you want to get it, because
and tickets are $75.
75 right
okay.
now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, guys, get your tickets. Get your tickets. This is year number what?
Oh my God, I'm not even sure. I would say this is probably the 8th one, because I don't do them annually just to have them.
Got you.
I wait for God to tell me to do
when to do it. Okay, got you.
So we don't do them just cause. Yeah. I'm really excited. And then we have our marriage boot camp coming up.
Marriage boot camp.
Now look.
When is this? May 17th.
May 17th at the Chase Center. This right here, it will assist you in building the foundations that you need for your marriage, your relationship. If you're married, it's going to really assist you to take your marriage to another level, whether you are in a good place or not, it's going
Mhm.
to assist you. If you're not married, you two are considering it, you
Yes.
definitely need
Yeah,
to
we'll
be
be there.
You definitely need to be there. We talk, it's real, relevant, raw. If you don't know anything about Bishop Rob and myself, I'm telling you, there's no topic off limits. We
No
talk
topic off
about it
limits.
all.
If you've been to a Rebirth Live, you already know what the experience is.
We talk about it all, but our marriage was jacked up for 7 to 8 years. It was
Mhm.
jacked. And
Mhm.
so we exercised some principles that really got us on the path of where we are, really not only loving each other, but we like each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
now we're 28, almost
Yeah.
28 years
Woo!
in. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Are we gonna do a redo on in the 30th anniversary?
Ooh, I don't
You
know.
don't know?
I think we'll go away. We might
We'll
do
see.
some like
Okay.
a destination thing.
Okay.
We might do something like
Nice.
that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But
Wow.
who would have thought?
I
'Cause
know.
when we
Child,
started,
got them.
now you were with me when I
With
met
you.
him. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, God is good, boy. I tell you that.
Wow.
Yeah. So listen, y'all. If you have not done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to this video. I don't want you to this podcast. I'm sorry. I don't want you guys to miss out all the information that we're going to be bringing you in 2025. Again, we're on a healing journey in 2025. We got to heal our world. We got to heal ourselves, our community, our families. So it's very important. So tonight we're going to be talking about healing while in crisis, right? Now, I always, as a therapist, of course, I'm always guiding people on their healing journeys. And I believe personally that there is no destination to healing.
Right.
I believe you're always on
Yes.
some type of journey of healing because you're always healing from something,
Yes.
right? So healing while in crisis. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, the one thing I realized was that during all of the crisis I was in, I never had the opportunity. I never had the benefit of being able to just take myself out of my situation and just focus on me. I had to learn how to work on my healing while doing life.
Yeah.
While in the midst of a crisis, while everything is still topsy-turvy, still being able to focus on me. And I think that's where most people find it most challenging.
Yeah.
Because what you'll realize is that while you're trying to heal yourself or deal with your issues and get the help that you need, everything is coming your way to take you off.
Yeah.
They're just distractions. And you have to be able to identify them and just say, you know what? I'm putting me first.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is, whether it's child, whether it's spouse, whether it's parent. I got to put me first, because if I don't deal with my issues, if I don't heal me, then I'll never be any good for anybody
else. Yeah.
And we say it, but we don't do it.
We don't practice it. Yeah.
The job needs so much of us. The spouse needs so much. Our children need so much. And we're empty.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was going through a really tough time in our marriage, and I mean, didn't know whether we were going to make it or not. I was going through a severe depression, and I realized I have to get me together. I have to work on me. And one of the things that really kind of got me to this point was I was in the midst of my depression, and I realized that my spouse was not going to assist me. He was not going to be there for me the way I needed him to be there, because he had his own issues, right? So I realized I had to focus on me, make me the priority, and then deal with whatever those issues were.
How long, at what point, like how much time though did you spend before you realized
that he wasn't going to assist me,
that you had
that he wasn't going to help me, that I was on my own? it took a while for me because I thought when I got married, even though he was part of the problem,
Right.
I thought, and this is how we think. We think
Mhm.
that the person who is part of the problem is going to be the solution.
Right.
And guess
No.
what?
Nope.
No. He
No.
was not part of the solution. I had to take him out of the equation so that I could focus on getting me right.
Mhm.
And so it took a minute for me to realize that. And then in my process of taking ownership of my own healing,
Mhm.
that took, I'm going to say it took about 4 years.
Mhm.
It did.
Yeah.
Now, had I been by myself, probably would have taken 2.
Mhm. Right. But you were still healing while in
I was going to
crisis.
see through. I wasn't by myself. I
Right.
was still living with the person with some issues
Yes.
that helped create some of my issues.
Yes.
He didn't create all of my issues.
Right.
Because
Right.
had I not had the issues in the first place, I wouldn't have even chosen him.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, but that journey was
Wow.
worth it.
That's deep. That's deep. And that's the thing, right? Excuse me. It's like really sticking to it, but we don't.
No.
We get sidetracked because
Yes.
we're impatient.
Yeah.
It's taking too long.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not seeing results.
Mhm.
And like you said, we're expecting the person that may be causing some of the problem
Yeah.
to be the one to fix it. And you totally got to take that focus off of them.
Yes.
But when you're in that stuff, it's hard
It's
to really
hard.
do.
It
really
is.
is.
You have to
Mhm.
create a circle of those that will assist you. You can't do it by yourself. I
Mhm.
had a therapist. Wait a minute, let me get this right, because I want people to understand all of what it took. I had a psychologist, I had a psychiatrist, I had a pastor. When I tell you I was jacked up, I was jacked up. I was going to counseling. I had medication and a pastor. And so I needed all of them because it wasn't just, I had to deal with thoughts. I had to deal with feelings. I had to deal with it all.
Yeah.
And so that you better get you a team.
Yeah.
Most of us don't have a team.
Right. Exactly.
We're trying to do this solo.
Exactly.
And you're going to just get low.
Right. True. It's true.
That's without alcohol, y'all. I'm just kind of winging that. Yeah, you're trying to do it solo, but you can't do this solo.
No.
You weren't created to do it solo.
Right.
And
right.
God is trying to put people in your life to get you to the next level. The problem is, will you really embrace them? Will you invite them in? You know, because we don't want to talk, we don't want to share, we want to keep it all in. And when you keep it all in, that's where you really, it does more damage.
It does, because it comes out, the stress comes out in your health, it comes out, you know, it just comes out. It just oozes out your pores when you are, you know, you're feeling that way. It was something I was ready to ask you. Okay, perfect example of when we talk about you can have God and a therapist, because she's a pastor and she's sitting here and telling you what her whole team consists of.
Yes.
Right. So can you speak a little bit about that? Because even though I think we have come a long ways, I do believe there's still people that struggle with being a believer, but also seeing a therapist.
Well, just like God created doctors,
right?
Same thing. And the thing is, if you are struggling with your emotions and your thoughts, if you can't slow the thoughts down long enough, you'll never hear God. You won't even be able to identify his voice, because you have so many thoughts coming, so many voices speaking to you, that you need something to slow the thoughts down. I needed medication for a period of time just to slow the thoughts down so I could identify what was real and what wasn't.
Right.
And so once I was able to do that, then it allowed me to be able to receive the word. I couldn't even receive what God was saying about me because my thoughts were all over the place.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then what happens too is you have to, like in therapy, I always say, stick to the facts. What are the facts, right? Because we change the
Yes.
narrative
Yes.
of
Yes.
how things are happening or
Yes.
what someone did to us, and we change that narrative, and it's just like, well, that's not what really happened.
Exactly.
What are the actual facts? And if you stick
Yes.
to the facts,
Yes.
then maybe we can kind of control those irrational thoughts that
Yes.
you have, or
Yes.
the narrative that you created about what's happening,
Yes.
to you.
That's
you
true.
know
And I had people tell me, "Oh, you don't need medication. What do you need that for?" I needed the medication. And I was on it long enough. I was on it long enough to slow the thoughts down, to practice slowing the thoughts down. And then I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to take it anymore. But even with that, I went to my psychiatrist and my psychologist and said, I don't want to do this. And I talked to my pastor about it. And my pastor was one that said, well, we're going to do this when they say it's okay to do this. And so I slowly was weaned off of it. But you have to allow yourself to be where you are.
Yeah.
Don't try to pretend you're someplace you're not.
Yeah.
And don't let other people try to put you in a box to say how you should heal.
Yes.
And that's something.
And when your healing should be done.
Yes.
When they don't let anybody put a time frame on your healing. Yeah.
People do that.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
do that. And I think that was part of my situation because I lost my mother when I was younger. I never grieved for her. And then when I started grieving for her, people were like, you're not over that yet? Over
Wow.
what? And
wow.
I mean, I had people actually say, you're not over that yet? You're still feeling that way? My grief and how I grieve that's mine.
Yeah.
Now, as a believer, no, we don't grieve as the world grieves. I'm
break that down.
Well, don't be trying to jump in caskets. That's all I'm saying. You're going to cry.
Yeah.
You are going to hurt.
Yes.
You are going to feel the loss, and that's okay. And you know what? You're going to feel it over and over again. It's not going to just stop. You're not going to just stop feeling a certain way at a certain time.
Right.
I still grieve my mother. I still have, God forbid I watch one of those Hallmark Christmas movies. I have, I'm like, I miss, and it's okay.
It's okay.
And nobody can take that from you.
Yeah.
But we can't allow people to define our grieving process.
Right. Absolutely.
Don't let people put you in a box.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Because like you said, you never get over a loss, especially when it's a child, number one, and then also parents, my grandmother, she's been gone for 25 years. And there's moments I still get teary-eyed when I miss her, right? Especially when I'm going through a tough time.
Yes.
Because she was a praying grandmother, right? So she would call even when she didn't even know what it was, but it was so heavy on her spirit. And I'll be like, hey, grandmama. And she'd be like, come on, baby, let's pray. God told me to call you. Yeah. And I'll just break down. And what would I would give anything for that phone call to come through. Yes. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? So you learn to live alongside of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly
it. You just learn to live alongside of it. And it's all a part of life.
And when I think about it, if love never fails, if love is eternal, then why would I stop missing her? Yeah. You put it in perspective. Yeah. But it's a loss. Someone who loved you, right? And you had that relationship, that's a loss. Yeah. You don't get that back. Yeah. And so, just to have that and to have value, to know that someone loved you, that's valuable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
it is.
Yeah.
I always try to look at the time, right? The time, the memories, what it is, what was the takeaway? What are the things that you can what would she be saying right now to you? And that's what I hold on to.
Yes.
What would she say to me right now in this
Yes.
moment? And I'll hold on to that. And that brings me closer to her than ever.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
So now 2025 has, it feel like we done went through a whole year.
How about it? We're only.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. And I'm not that person. Like,
Yes.
I'm always
Yes.
just like, you know, da 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 da.
Yes.
You know, if the best is yet to come, da, 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 you know, stay positive. But man, oh man, it has been an exhausting. It's been a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's been a little over a month.
Yeah.
And it has been exhausting
Mhm.
already.
Yeah.
So we're talking about healing through crisis.
Yes.
I feel like we're all in a crisis right now.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how do people right now,
Mm-hmm.
how do they heal? How do they handle everything that's going on with themselves? What advice would you give them?
First of all, you have to connect back to the source.
Mhm.
You've got to connect with God. You've got to know who you are in Him and know what He says about you
Mm-hmm.
in this season. You've got to reconnect. Some thought they were connected, and you'll know that you weren't connected by the level of fear and anxiety that you currently are in. And I get being afraid right now. I really do. But I also understand that God is my source.
Right.
He's my source. So I don't care how much eggs cost. I don't care who leaves, who stays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who the president is and who it's not, and who we think is the president. And clearly, I think we might have a different one. But
Right.
anyway,
Exactly.
it doesn't,
Mm.
because I know who I belong to.
Mhm.
I know who I'm connected with. And if nothing else, I pray more now than I
Mhm.
ever have. And I pray now more for others,
Mhm.
because in this time, if you don't know, you're going to be shook.
Yeah.
You're going to be shook.
Yeah.
And the enemy wants to shake you.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, to me, we have to learn how to embrace crisis
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to run from it, or as opposed to ignore it,
Mm-hmm.
or as opposed to wanting to avoid it. Embrace it, because there's something that you're going to get out of this that's going to make you better. There's something that you can, how your perspective is everything. Because I'm looking at this, like, quite honestly, I'm looking at this like, what opportunities does this bring to me now that I didn't have before?
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of believers, there was a complacency that they had. There was a contentment
Mm-hmm.
that they have that they now don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason.
I agree with that.
And you take those feelings and you say, okay, what do I do with them now?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I need to pray more. I need to believe God more. I need to stay connected more. I need to stay connected to my family more, because you're not going to be able to continue to live this life isolated.
Right. Right.
This is bringing families together.
Mm-hmm.
This is bringing parents and children together. This is bringing, the elderly back,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all going to have to look on one another now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're not an island any longer.
Yeah, for sure. Especially community,
Yes.
right? Especially community. So I've noticed too, even within our the Black and Brown community,
Mhm.
You have places like Amazon, but now we're creating our own Amazon.
Yes.
I forgot the name of it. I do have the link. I have to drop it in the comments. But there's a website that people can go to, and it's like the Black and Brown Amazon, where you can shop from things from us. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can register your own business on there,
Okay.
or service on
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah.
because we're going to need that.
Mhm.
We're going to need that. This is not a time you can't be the Lone Ranger in this.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to my family. I I'm very intentional about making sure that we're close,
Mhm.
but now it's even deeper.
Yeah.
Because now I'm even looking at, okay, maybe we need to buy land and have our own compound. Before it was, you're praising everybody because they have their own house,
Right.
but now maybe it's time to bring
Yeah.
everybody back to the same plot of land. And just really looking out for one another,
Right.
being there, and even down to teaching the children. We've let so much go to others and make them responsible for raising our kids,
Right.
and our food and everything.
Right.
We're going to have to take that back.
Right.
It's been made clear that we can't leave that to others.
Exactly.
I no longer want to be. Now, I was just talking on my way here. I was talking to a girlfriend. I'm like, I need to know how to put some vegetables,
in the ground.
Yeah.
Do a garden.
I'm like, okay, I got to plant some seeds.
Yeah. But these are the you're absolutely right. These are the conversations that we do need to have.
Yes.
We have to share information. We have to have meetings, and when the girls get together, we should be getting together and everybody bringing something to the table that we can learn. Everybody has something that you can learn from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to speak on that because people are scared. I'm not even going to lie. And, people are coming into therapy at a high rate now. Last time I seen this was during COVID,
right?
During the pandemic.
Yes.
When a lot of people was just reaching out for therapy. And now we're starting to get, the same rush again.
Yep.
And I'm not even going to lie. It's, for me, it's a lot, right? Because healing through crisis, right?
Yes.
I'm wondering the same thing. I'm trying to figure it out as well. But I also have to, be there for my clients and help them through this, as I also help myself through it along with my family.
And what it does, crisis always reveals your deficits. It does, but it can reveal your strengths as well.
Absolutely.
And we have to start focusing on the strengths of each other.
Yes.
Your strength and my strength are different.
Right.
So why I don't have to recreate the wheel. Go to you for your strength.
Exactly.
And that's where building that community is so important. The problem is most people don't have in their circle the people that they need in their circle.
Right.
You've surrounded yourself with people who think just like you.
Exactly.
You've surrounded yourself with people who said that your whack way of living was okay. You've surrounded yourself with people who don't challenge you, who don't encourage you, who don't push you. And so now is the time to revamp your circle and get those people in around you who can push you, who can encourage you to think creatively, strategically, so that we can go beyond this. This is just a moment. This is really just a moment. People are saying, this is the end of the world. No, it's a moment.
You heard, Pastor.
It is a moment. The depression was a moment. The recessions that we've gone through was a moment. COVID was a moment.
Yeah. And we survived it all.
And we survived
it all.
Yeah.
We will survive this as well.
And we will survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was awesome.
It was.
Happy Women's History Month.
Let me say this. I am so excited because we have to realize that we are connected to history. And I had to think about that for a minute because I thought about my mother, who is, the women's prison is named after her. And just
tell them the name so they know.
Dolores J. Baylor Women's Correctional Institution.
Yes, that's her mom.
And, just knowing that that's part of my legacy.
Yeah.
And I would have never thought I'm not the warden, but I'm still helping women because it's
Look at that.
It's in my DNA.
It's in you.
It's who I am.
Look at that.
So
you had to go through all. You had to go through all that whole journey.
Yes. So I can go there. I can understand what making a bad decision does. Yeah. I just didn't end up in prison, but I made some bad decisions.
And you can also understand what it looks like when you heal from making a bad decision. Right? Yep. Because that's what you did. Yeah. Right. And that's what we continue to do. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And this is why. So you did say this before we wrap up. You said that, people feel like if you don't have those people in your circle, it's time to make new friends, right?
Yes,
And this
yes.
is why it's important to come to events like I Am Built for This,
Yes.
Marriage Boot Camp, Rebirth Meetups, Rebirth
Yes,
Lives,
yes.
because we're bringing out people,
Yes.
right? So we're bringing out people that you can network with, you can
Right.
connect with. Yes, we want you to pay attention to the information that we're giving you,
Yeah.
but that's also the time to network and fellowship with other people.
Yes.
Because that you might meet your new bestie there, your
Yes.
new business partner or whatever.
We pray a lot. We talk a lot in ministry about God is setting up, and this is an affirmation that I think a lot of people need to take in. God is setting up somebody somewhere with their power, ability, and influence just to help you. And so he's setting them up, but you gotta still meet them.
Yes.
And these are
Yes.
Rebirth. One of the things I like about the Rebirth Lives, the meetups, is that you have people from all walks of life coming together, but it's really a common cause, so that we can all be better, so that we can all hear one another. And people have different views, but there's a level of honor and respect that we all have for each other, even in our differences.
Yes.
And we embrace our similarities. And so they're key. Like, don't slip on those plates, because you don't know who is there that has your answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yes,
I do. This is a true sisterhood. So I just want to let y'all know that, like, this is really my sister. Like, we have a true sisterhood, and we've had for a very long time.
Yeah, when I think about the fact that I've been married almost 28
Yeah.
years, and I knew you before that.
Yeah. I met you when I was 19. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Isn't that God? Say, when people say that you can't have true sisterhood,
Yes,
you can. You
Yes,
can have
you
true
can.
sisterhood.
Yes,
you
you
know,
can.
and you women,
Yep.
we do need each other.
Yes.
So, girl, don't get me
Yeah.
start crying on here. Don't even get me start crying on here.
Yeah.
But it's real. So I love you. I appreciate you. And I do. I am serious. I would love to have you and Bishop back on this year's Rebirth Live. I'm doing healing our community.
Okay.
And I
We'd
really
love to be back.
I really want, you guys bring the spiritual, but the realness. You know what I'm saying? And I want that perspective from not just from a believer's perspective, but also someone that's going to keep it real with you.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't feel that maybe clergy always keep it real when it comes down to certain. As much as
they always had it together,
right?
And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Right, exactly.
And even after becoming clergy, you don't have it together.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
why put that out there so that it isolates people?
Exactly. It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And it makes people not want to really be vulnerable about what they're going through, or what's happening, because they're afraid of judgment, which usually that's what they experience, right? So that's something that you guys definitely, you don't bring that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You definitely bring a place of, look, let me tell you about what we had to go through, right? And I love that. So so I'm excited about it. But again, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And guys, please go and support. I'm telling you, I Am Built for This marriage boot camp. I have gone to a marriage boot camp before, and it was really, really good. I went to support my sister, and it was really, really good. So you will learn. You don't even have to be married to go. No. You don't even have to have, because I came by myself.
Yeah,
so
that was the wives
that was the wives that went. That's right. She had, but I wasn't a wife, but I was still there, right? Yes. So check them out. Make sure, give them your website again.
transformedbyfaith.live.
Yes.
So you can go on and just register right there. We have all the information. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. Yes, it is. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Again, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Rebirth Podcast. Again, Pastor Delisa, I love you too. Happy Women's History Month, guys. And until next Monday, you guys have a great week. God bless.